Good afternoon, YouTube. JT Serenity Farms prepping here, sporting some new readers. Let's get into the Porkulous bill. So for months, while the majority of hardworking Americans have been languishing with tyrannical despots, unconstitutional lockdowns, and a pandemic scheme, Pelosi and her team of people on her side were playing politics with your business, your livelihood, your home, and your families, admitting that they settled for half. This is approximately $908 billion stimulus package when months ago, October, President Trump had offered $1.8 trillion. So they played politics. Regardless of how much money is in this, where is it coming from? We have no money. The country is broke. I don't know the answer. All I know is every time we do something, it pushes us an inch closer to the cliff. There's no safety wires. There's no big fluffy mattress at the bottom. When we go down, we're staying down. But let's go over what's in it, shall we? Biggest winner appears to be the airlines. I'm not sure why we keep bailing those scumbags out. But, so, first, the good news. The bill includes a fresh round of benefits for small businesses, as well as the usual one-time pittance for peasants, the article says, amounting to a $600 check. That's half of what it was last time. Unemployment will get $300 a week, even though they're already getting unemployment at 80% of their salary, so they're getting half of what they got last time, but they actually made money last time. So, direct payments of $600 to most Americans. $600 adult and $600 per child. So, a family of 5 will get $3,000. A family of 1 will get $600. Okay. The amounts decrease for individuals with more than $75,000 in income and $150,000 for couples. That's the same as last time. $300 per week in enhanced unemployment benefits through March. Expiring programs for gig workers and the long-term unemployed would also continue. $284 billion for the PPE. That provides, they had grants and it's crossed out, forgivable loans to small businesses. Arguably the most successful part of the last stimulus and the most abused. It represents the bulk of the $325 billion the bill puts toward small businesses. $82 billion for education. Alright, now, as a nation, the U.S., New York in particular, we spend more per student than any other country in the world, and our students keep getting dumber, mostly because of libtard policies like Common Core math, teaching hatred, racism, and bigotry, but I digress. $54.3 billion for K-12 schools, $22.7 for colleges. Why are they getting a dime? Governors would get $4.05 billion to spend on education at their discretion. notice it doesn't say that they will be held accountable and must show legitimate documentation that it actually went there. You can guess where New York's is going to go. For-profit colleges would get $908 million for grants to students, and another $1.7 billion would be set aside for all the minority crap. Black colleges, tribal colleges, minority serving institutions. Nope, there's no racism. $10 billion for childcare, $15 billion in grants for theater operators and owners of small performance venues. $25 billion rental assistance and an extension in the moratorium on evictions, which was due to take place at the end of the month and was going to be massive. The Democrats clearly did not want a moratorium in there because the objective of the deep state UN 2030 agenda is to do away with all private property. And yes, evictions count for people who have mortgages, not just renters. But they want to funnel everyone into those nice big mega cities. Alright, $13 billion in funds for food stamp and child nutrition benefits. $30 billion for the procurement and distribution of the vaccine. That's going well, isn't it? As well as testing and contact tracing. $1.8 billion in tax credits for businesses to provide paid leave. Isn't that what unemployment is? I understand maybe that's a workers' comp case, someone who's pregnant and has to leave. It'll be abused just like everything else is. Every inmate in New York State on the first round got $1,200 checks. Can you tell me why convicted scumbags, rapists, pedophiles, murderers, drug dealers, why are they getting money? They get 3 hots and a cot every damn day. Do you know that was approximately 60,000 inmates in New York State? Multiply 60,000 times just 1,000. That money couldn't have been used somewhere else. They're not going anywhere, besides all the one idiot Eric Cuomo's releasing daily, right? So, of course, phone's acting up. Of course, with any stimulus that is nearly $1 trillion, there'll be lots of pork and other shady components thrown into that. And that is a major problem in this country. Both sides have their pet pork projects, and they don't care what the situation is for our annual budget or an emergency bill like this. They still try and fund nothing that we the people would ever vote for if given the opportunity. And as a result, our national debt is completely unsustainable with no hope of ever being paid off. La 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 la. Here's one. $15 billion in payroll to the airlines. That allows them to potentially, in theory, hire back approximately 32,000 furloughed workers. But it is very likely that all the airlines will quietly get that money, continue to lay off workers as the second wave, and then start buying back their own stock. That bumps it up on the stock market. They make more money. Just like Pelosi and Feinstein. Get a federal grant, buy some land, sell it to the other one's husband who got a federal grant, who then sells it back to the federal government. So we pay for it 3 times and they become gazillionaire traders. Because that doesn't even count their money from China that they've been getting. Getting a little off topic, but it's just makes me wild. Alright, so The airlines furloughed more than 32,000 workers in October after a 6-month, $25 billion bailout had expired on September 30th. So, according to Reuters, airline workers would be paid retroactive to December 1st, and airlines would have to resume flying some routes they stopped after they received their aid package. So, even if it's used as intended, it won't last airlines even 3 months at current cash burn rates. U.S. carriers are losing $180 million in cash daily, with passenger volumes down 65 to 70% and cancellations rising. What are you going to do? The $45 billion COVID transportation package includes $1.75 billion for airports, $200 million for airport concessionaries, and $2 billion for the private motor coach, school bus, and ferry industries. Aside from the airlines, the stimulus also includes $1 billion to Amtrak, which has never made money, has always been a failure. Every year we subsidize Amtrak. $14 billion for public transit and $10 billion for state highways. So, what is that? An infrastructure bill and mass transit. Each state, to me, those are some Porkulous stuff. Also expected to include significant changes to how the FAA certifies new airplanes after we all know about the Boeing 737. So, what else? Well, Democrats opposed the proposal. During negotiations, Democratic leaders agreed to the provision in exchange for Republicans agreeing to expand tax credits for low-income families and the working poor in the final package. Because the Democrats are always for the poor and the children. That's why Pelosi intentionally held off helping those same exact people for 6 months until the election shenanigans was done. Okay, so since the 1980s, businesses have only been able to deduct 50% of their meal expenses off their federal taxes. A proposal championed by Tim Scott from South Carolina would increase that deduction to 100%, allowing companies to deduct the full cost of a business meal off their federal taxes. The cost to me and you for this is yet unknown. But tax experts expect it not to exceed a few $billions. Oh, so that makes it okay. Alright, so no listed timetable on when the magical mystery money tree starts dropping its leaves. They get raked up and distributed to all of us. Like last time, I'm pretty sure that the money is going to be, for the overwhelming majority of people, deposited immediately so that it can't be cashed and let's face it. You know, the restaurant business is going to get some money, the PPE stuff also. And in some states, that's going to be very welcome and help a lot. And then you have places like New York City where the eviction of someone renting space for their restaurant likely won't happen. The PPE, there's money because those people have had bills, but if they're not allowed to be open as comrades de Blasio and Como play their games. See, the Democrats wanted federal bailouts for the cesspool libtard governors and mayors who have ruined their states, like Como here in New York. He put the state in a, most estimates, $60 billion hole with all his free social giveaway, illegal vote for me programs. And now he wants to make it up on the backs of everyone else. His COVID scam that he pulled since last March was all about trying to get the federal government to bail out New York State. And I live here, and they're promising to raise my taxes double digits. I don't know how much longer I will stay here. I don't own anything on my home, but I'm retired. They have my check. We got to worry about mandatory vaccinations. We got to worry about re-education camps and everything I've discussed in other videos. This stimulus is the last one if Trump gets reelected, but it's just the first step if Pedo Joe gets in. And then the Democrats will just hand out money like crazy. You'll see a UBI instead of a stimulus. No business will be privately owned. It'll be owned by the government, and you will work it for them, and they will give you a pittance. Your homes will likely be owned by the government and central bankers, and you will live there and pay your mortgage, aka rent, until they want to get rid of all your homes and move you into megacities. So this stimulus, while I understand is needed for a lot of people after the length of time it's been, what is $600 really going to do? And I don't mean that people aren't suffering. That's not what I'm getting at. That's $600 since the last check. Was that about $50 a month? $75? I know that is money to some people, but if you've made it until now, what does it do? The country is broke. I'm not saying something didn't need to be done. I'm just saying there is no money tree. But yet they just keep going out in the backyard and picking it off there, just to keep everyone content and happy. We have got to get this election crap taken care of. There won't be any checks until this is all over, and then that could, depending on how that goes, those could be delayed for reasons we've discussed in other videos. But for now, I just wanted to do an update on the stimulus bill. No timetable when those are going to start getting out. But stay safe, Patriots. Keep preparing, because January 5th or 6th could be interesting. And after that, like, share, subscribe, comment, notification bell. But for now, JT, signing off.